There was a Trump campaign ad in a way that Trump shared on Truth Social this week. He didn't create it. His campaign team did not create it. Someone else did, but they shared it online. And it suggested that Donald Trump was like the pinnacle of God's creation. And it's weird. I'm going to play for you like the first 10 seconds of the video because it goes on for literally 2.5 minutes. But let me play the first few seconds for you.
And on June 14th, 1946, God looked down on his planned paradise and said, I need a caretaker. So God gave us Trump. God said, I need somebody willing to get up before dawn, fix this country, work all day, fight the Marxists, eat supper, then go to the Oval Office and stay past midnight at a meeting of the heads of state. So God made Trump. I need somebody.
Yeah, I'm stopping there. I cannot listen to that whole thing again because it's insane. So that is the piece. God made Trump, and it basically says God needed someone to fulfill all of his desires. He needs a caretaker, someone who's going to get up early, stay up late, fight for the people, stay past midnight, as if like stay past midnight at a meeting. Okay, we'll talk about that in a second. But it goes on like that for a while, and of course, I know a lot of you know this already. That's not an original piece. That is famously a ripoff of a speech given by the conservative broadcaster Paul Harvey in 1978. Paul Harvey at the time was a famous radio personality. He was giving a speech at a convention of farmers, and he gave a speech called So God Made a Farmer, basically pandering to the audience that he had there, saying, God needed someone to do the hard labor and get up early, stay up late. And so God made a farmer. It's a famous speech. It's a good speech. It's fine. But that's what they're basing it off of. But the gist is that God wanted someone to do lots of work, impact local government, help his neighbor, go to church, and basically be a real life Norman Rockwell character. So God made farmers. Now, what's interesting is when Ron DeSantis was running for governor again in 2022, his campaign actually did make an ad ripping off of that material. They just changed farmer to fighter and modified some of the rest of the script. And that was it. They painted Ron DeSantis as this conservative culture warrior sent by God to fix everything. This ad for Trump doesn't even bother sticking to the original. It just co-opts the format while just making stuff up left and right. And I just want you to keep in mind, if Joe Biden ever tried this shit, if anyone working for Joe Biden or who just liked Joe Biden posted this stuff and then it got spread by actual Democratic leaders, you would never hear the end of it on Fox News or a right-wing audience. Like, how dare these people compare Joe Biden to our savior? But when they do it for Trump, peeps, you get nothing. You get barely anyone caring about it. But just to highlight some of the things that were said in this video and how bananas they are, one of the things it says in there, and you heard this in that short clip I played for you, it said Trump is a caretaker. No, he's not a caretaker. You know what he is? He botched the COVID relief effort in significant ways. Remember, he promoted hydroxychloroquine, which, there was an article out recently. Here we go. If I can find the headline here, CNN. Oh, no, that's not the one I want to. There we go. The response to the pandemic was a failure. Sorry, I don't have it here, but it said his promotion of hydroxychloroquine may have killed like 17,000 people. Like, he's not a caretaker. He led people to their doom. Another part of the video says God needs someone who will work all day. No, Trump didn't work all day. As this CNN headline I just showed you pointed out, no, he took a lot of time off. He didn't work all day when he was president. He took vacations. He lined his own pockets. His family took more vacations, protected trips than the Obamas. That's from 2020. And this is interesting too. Like, he filled his private schedule with executive time, which is a fancy way of saying, I got to do something in private. But he won't tell you that he's actually doing work. He just says, I got to go in my office and not do stuff. And then, like 5 minutes later, he's tweeting things. So he's not working all day. There was a part in the video, I swear to you, this is what it says in that video. It says that he delivered his own grandchild. And like, what? No. First of all, there's no record of that. It's also a ridiculous claim since Trump is famously germophobic. Why would do you think he could handle a live birth? What? No. And if we're talking about, he stands for us against our enemies, that's also not true because Trump famously has like praised here. If I could find this, come on, internet, work for me. There we go. Trump famously praised Kim Jong-un. Like, he likes dictators a whole lot. They're his best friends. And so he's praising them. Another thing said in the video is that God needs someone who ends his week by attending church on Sunday. So God made Trump. Like, since when does Donald Trump attend church regularly? You know who does attend church regularly? It would be Joe Biden. Joe Biden goes like every single week. This is an NBC News article. Sunday services, Biden's faith on display in renewed presidential ritual. Renewed because Trump didn't do it. And in fact, this is an article that says Trump has attended church 14 times since taking office, including photo ops. I mean, come on. We all know Trump is not going to church unless there's some political reason for him to do so. Photo ops, campaign rallies, funerals, maybe. And again, if you're complaining, if your argument is that God made Trump, God wanted Trump, Trump is a sexual abuser. He's the 2 Corinthians guy. He famously said he doesn't need forgiveness, which I was always told Christians care about. He couldn't name his favorite Bible verse in an interview. There isn't a single white evangelical church in America that would hire someone like Trump to be their pastor if they wanted to be taken seriously. And yet, more than half of Republican voters have already argued that like Trump is a man of faith. That was a recent survey. More than half of Republican voters said Trump was a man of faith, more so than Mitt Romney and Mike Pence, both of whom only are like known for their faith. So where did this video come from? Because Trump didn't make it, even though he totally could have. He did not make it. It came from something called the Dilly 300 meme team, which is basically a right-wing MAGA cultist named Brendan Dilley. And I'm not going to play this for you, but in 2019, Brendan Dilley declared his strategy, and you could see the headline there in the right-wing watch video. He said, it doesn't have to be true, it just has to go viral. Kind of giving the game away there, right? You can lie on purpose as long as it goes viral, as long as it suits your overall goals. And it works because the sort of people who vote for Donald Trump don't care about honesty or integrity. They don't care about criminal prosecutions. They are just acting as if they are in a cult. I mean, the fact that some people will still believe the stuff he says in this video, that they'll believe Trump, who speaks with conviction and confidence, no matter what the reality is. I mean, that tells you a lot about them. It's the reason Vivek Ramaswamy is still in the mix of Republican candidates, even though he's full of shit, because he just speaks confidently and convincingly, and it doesn't matter what the truth is. He just acts like he knows it, and a bunch of people are dumb enough to fall for it. Because the more convincing you are when you lie, the more likely it is that gullible people will believe you. It works on the Fox News crowd. It works on the Newsmax crowds. It works in mega churches, as every pastor knows. It works in multi-level marketing schemes. It works when you're spreading pseudoscience. It works when you're a magician trying to, give people an illusion. Just act like you know what you're doing, and they'll fall for it. And it's why actual journalists are having such a hard time breaking through against all this, because how do you speak to people who aren't interested in the facts? They just want a strong man to lead them. So the fact is, look, Trump spread that video on Truth Social, but even if it doesn't go beyond that, it's probably not the last time we're going to hear Trump depicted as a messiah sent by God to prevent the fictional persecution of Christians. And no amount of criminal convictions or fascist rhetoric or stream of consciousness rambling is going to change that. And honestly, if any God gave us Trump, that God would not be worth worshiping.